This is the longest video ever, but it's definitely worth checking out. Yeah, it'll be a long video, let me break it down, you'll definitely see it though. That there are many good decks, I'll admit it, I kinda hit it and quit and left y'all hanging. Now I'm back 2017 with new info and it's a fact, combined with 10 deck list. Isn't that sick? Playing standard, well what to pick? Turbo Darkrai makes you wanna cry, Volcanion burns you into oblivion, Yveltal will make you fall together with a mad bull. Ha! Get it? Tauros GX, well what's up next? Slapping on the bench, the Decidueye will take its revenge. I'm talking about revenge. Vespiquen is the deck you don't wanna play against. What else can we talk about seriously? Mega Mewtwo just destroys you critically, literally with the help of Psychic Affinity. And Greninja only needs one energy to deal damage so immensely inside. Guard, like always, is hitting real hard. Yeah. What's up YouTube, it's TCG here and welcome to episode 109. In this video I'm gonna mention 10 decks that I think are really great to check out or yeah, you wanna play at your next tournament because these are the standard decks that are doing really incredibly good at the moment. So there's also gonna be a bunch of honorable mentions here and there because I cannot cover every deck out there, but I'm gonna do my best to give you the top 10 decks for you. So yeah, let's get things started with Vileplume Tool Box. This is a really great deck because it revolves around the Vileplume Irritating Pollen. That way both players cannot play any item cards, and in combination with this strategy we use Jolteon. This is really great because Jolteon cannot be hit by basic Pokemon if it uses the attack Flash Ray. For the counterpart we have Glaceon. Glaceon does the exact same thing, but for evolution Pokemon blocks out that. And then we have Tauros, which is added into this deck with the Sun and Moon update because Mad Bull GX is really crazy. This deck already runs 2 Ninja Boys, so most of the times you will get a free knockout because Tauros GX does incredibly well with other Pokemon and one hits almost everything in the format. Magearna is in here because that way we don't have the special effects on the attacks of our opponents, so that way there's pure damage. And with the Jolteon combination and Glaceon combination, we kind of have a lock right there with the item lock, so this is a really great deck. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. As an honorable mention, this is actually the lower tier here because I'm not gonna mention like this is the best deck, this is the best deck. Actually everything can win in a format if played correctly or by a good player, that is. So this is a really great deck to check out. Actually, as I mentioning this, tier 3 decks can also beat tier 1 decks. It's just a tier I'm gonna make up because some people want to know what is the best deck. I'm just gonna divide it by tier. So this is tier 3, and tier 3 we also have the Rainbow Road deck revolving around Xerneas. With a bunch of different types of Pokemon on the bench, with Skyfield dealing a ton of damage. So that's also tier 3. Don't have a deck list for that. So the thing I'm gonna mention here with the Vileplume deck is that it uses Ninja Boy, and the addition is Professor Kukui dealing extra 20 damage, and of course the Tauros. So that was that deck. Definitely check it out. It's a really nice option to play. Also in the tier 3 there's a bunch of honorable mentions as well I want to do. We have Gyarados Full Retaliate. If you're not familiar with the deck, go check out episode 102, I believe. It's about Gyarados. That deck is really insane. It can do a ton of damage, but with Decidueye in the format, this is not that well of a play. But then again, if you're not facing Decidueye, that Gyarados Pokemon, actually if I explain it, let's just get the cards right there. We want to see the Gyarados. Yeah, let's see. It's all about this card. If you want to know more, as I mentioned, I made an episode all about this card. So this Gyarados is also a deck of its own, so that's cool. The Rainbow Road Xerneas, I don't have that on the TCG online program, so that's why I don't have a deck list of it. But it's a really great way to play a bunch of different types in a deck, and it's also quite fun. Next up, we are gonna cover Lurantis Vileplume. Actually, this is not a complete deck. I still miss a few cards here and there, I believe. So here we have him. Yeah, I believe I traded away my Lugia, so there's that. So this deck list, let's just slap it open, is all about Lurantis. Lurantis is really great with Flower Supply, dealing 40 damage and getting 2 basic energy cards from the discard to your Pokemon in any way you like. This is really great, again, with Vileplume. Shutting off trainers is really crucial, and with that, Lurantis Lurantis can actually strike on turn 2 with a bunch of attacks. Here we can use Solar Blade with the addition of healing 30 damage, which is great. Chloroside GX is an overpowered GX move. If you have 4 energies, you deal 200 damage, 3 energies, 150 damage, and you can have added even more depending on what you want to one-shot. So this is really great. Lugia is also in this deck because we can also use Flower Supply on Lugia EX, and Arrow Ball can deal a ton of damage. So what is new in this deck is actually I'm putting in a Team Scroll Grunt. Actually this deck is new in its own because Laurentiis is a new card, but yeah, discarding 2 cards from your opponent's hand is also great to disrupt your opponent, while you can use your setup with Vileplume. That way they don't have energies, their hand is full of items, they cannot use any item because of Vileplume. And yeah, Acrobike is really crucial in this deck for the speed, together with the Trainer's Mail and Shaman. That way you want to have your Vileplume out as fast as possible and using Lurantis on your probably your second turn, because yeah, on your first turn you cannot attack, but if it's your second turn, then yeah, you can strike out of nowhere. Weakness Policy is also in this deck because Volcanion is still running around in tier 2, and you don't want to get destroyed by fighters, so there's one Weakness Policy in there. Be sure to attach it before you evolve into Vileplume though. So this is the deck of the Lurantis Vileplume. So with that out of the way, I have 2 decks I mentioned in tier 3. I'm moving on to tier 2. Yeah, what have we in tier 2? Let's just check my decks here. We have the Lapras Water Box. Did really well at Anaheim Regionals. That was actually in the top 32. There was one of these decks that did really well. So it all revolves around Lapras. I already made an episode about Lapras and also made a TCG battle with this deck. So definitely check it out on my channel. So Lapras GX, you want to use the Ice Beam GX to paralyze your opponent. It's an overpriced attack, but then again, if it's stuck in the active position, we strike with Articuno out of nowhere and poof, get ourselves an extra prize thanks to that Delta Plus ability. Actually, it's an ancient trait, so that's a really great combination. It's a Water Toolbox with Manaphy. This is the real support of the Pokemon deck right there. We have Aqua Tube. With that, all our Pokemon with water energies have free retreat, which is awesome. We can retreat into a Reggie-Eyes if you want to deal with Pokemon EXs, because Resistant Blizzards prevents the attacks of the Pokemon EXs on Reggie-Eyes. We can retreat into Glaceon if we're having trouble with Evolution Pokemon. And then Tauros EX, we can also retreat into that to receive some damage and strike out of nowhere with a Mad Bull GX. But remember, you can only use 1 GX move per game, so you have to decide in which situation Mad Bull GX will be better than the Blizzard GX, or actually Ice Beam GX in that. We're gonna also slap this deck open. As you see, if you want to know, we definitely run 12 energies. For the Fighting Fury belts, I think it's 2. Let's just check that for you guys so you know. Let's just divide it like that, and we see it. Yeah, we run 3 Fighting Fury belts, so a ton more than I expected, because this deck runs all on basic Pokemon, so why not boost that HP? We have Pokemon Ranger to deal with opposing Pokemon like Glaceon that were stuck in our tracks. Also, what is in this deck that is new? Professor Kukui, Lapras of course, and yeah, in the past. If you want to play Expanded, this is pure Standard, but there's more options in Expanded as well. So this is a really great deck. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's kind of fun playing with Lapras. It has the collect attack, so if you start the game, you can have more cards in your hand, and drawing cards is always a good thing. So yeah, with that, we're mentioning another deck, the Decidueye. It's also a new deck from the Sun and Moon set. Alright. This deck revolves around Decidueye. If you haven't noticed, Decidueye is a really popular Pokemon. It's quite pricey nowadays, so this Decidueye is really good because of its Feather Arrow ability, which lets you put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, so that you can do that every turn, so that's why it's crucial. We also run Vileplume again. This is only a 2-2-2 line because we have not that much room because of the Decidueyes. And there's also Shiinotic in this deck. It's a 1-1 line, but you can remove that and add another Decidueye. I just like Shiinotic more because yeah, with that you can get your cards out much faster. Also, the Forest of Giant Plants is crucial in this deck to evolve. Things we have here is Timer Ball, flipping 2 coins for each head. Search your deck for an evolution Pokemon. It's really great in this deck. Also, Revitalizer is needed because if you use Sycamore early game, you want to get your Decidueyes back. Also, Acrobike, 2 of them, and Team Skull Grunt for more disruption, because if you have disruption going on, you can just snipe turn after turn. Also, there's Lysander in this deck. Maybe crack it up to 3 because you are item locked. And then, of course, Tauros GX is the MVP of the deck. This will be your main attacker while you just snipe around. So this is a really great deck, definitely check it out. Okay, moving on guys, we have Volcanion EX. This deck has been around since the Steam Siege deck definitely got released. So with the Volcanion EX is also a 10 promo, so quite easy to get. Volcanion EX team up ability, you can discard a fire energy card from your hand and then you deal 30 extra damage. It's as simple as that. If you get out a bunch of those, you deal a ton of damage. There's Hoopa EX, of course. On your first turn, if you get Hoopa EX, get yourself a Shaman with some Volcanion EXs on the bench and definitely attack with Baby Volcanion. This is our main attacker, so there's that. If you have these on the bench, the other Volcanion EXs, we deal a ton of damage for 1 energy, and you can just get the energies back with Power Heaters. So that's how good this deck is. It's still doing great. I'm not putting it in tier 1 because there are more powerful decks out there, but this definitely kicks some serious ass. Mind my words, if you play this, you will definitely have a great time. Flareon EX is also great. Flash Fire, getting the energies off of your Pokemon that you don't want and getting it to Flareon EX to use Blaze Ball out of nowhere, dealing tons of damage. You can only use it once during your turn, but the Baby Volcanion will stall for us and get your Flareon set up. So what is in this deck? Just basic fire energies, Professor Kukui, also 3 Fighting Fury Belt. We run all basic Pokemon, so maybe play a Pokemon Ranger, because if you're facing Glaceon, or actually it's not Glaceon, Jolteon, you will not have a great time because that stops the basic Pokemon from attacking. We can Lysander around it though, so you don't always have to be afraid of Jolteon. That's why this deck is quite consistent, running the Scorched Earth with Hoopa, also for Ultra Ball. This is quite a consistent list with Escape Probe, Energy Retrieval to get your energies back. So yeah, definitely check this deck out if you haven't already. It's quite fun to play with dealing a ton of damage for a single energy, because the abilities makes it so you can deal more damage with your fire Pokemon. Alright, that was a mouthful. Let's go to another deck. We have the thing I want to mention here. Let's just check out Greninja Break. I haven't featured this deck on the TCG Online match, but I made an episode about it, episode 100. If you want to know more about Greninja the Break, definitely check it out. This deck runs on Talonflame. If you start with it, you can just put it into your active position, so that's why it's so good. It also has free retreat, and it has the attack that deals 40 damage, respectable for 1 energy, and search your deck for 2 cards and put them in your hand. This is really great to get out your Greninja Breaks, or yeah, your setup like that. Also, Frogadier is also one of the more used first turn attacks. With Water Duplicates, you get yourself 3 Frogadiers onto your bench immediately without having to evolve Froakie. So yeah, we run 3 breaks. Unfortunately, I only have 1 break on the TCG Online program, but this is a really great deck. I say that with all the decks because these are actually really powerful decks that you should check out if you want to play at the standard tournament. Okay, what is in this deck? You should know that for the energies that just go back to the energy, we only run 6 energies, and yeah, there's also this splash energy, which makes it so if you there's a knockout, then you can just put the Pokemon and all the cards attached to it into your hand, so you can recover your Greninja Breaks with that. Only 1, because Enhanced Hammer is quite annoying in the format, so talking about Enhanced Hammers, we run 2 of them. Also Energy Retrieval to get your energies back, because we do use the Water Shurikens sometimes here and there. Also, you should know that we run Fisherman, because imagine yourself, you're item locked, you cannot get your energies back. That way we are using Fisherman. Just simple like that. 2 max potions, healing off all the damage, because with the Moon Slash, we can just return a water energy, deal extra damage, and that way our Greninja doesn't have any energies attached. We can use max potion, so it's good like that. Life is good. We only run 2 Ultra Balls. Now you say like, why you only run 2 Ultra Balls? Well, that's because we run Dive Ball, which is way better. Dive Ball gets your water Pokemon out immediately, and you definitely want to attack with this Frogadier as soon as possible, and then have your setup. We have 1 Rough Seas, healing off damage, but Silent Lab is more and crucial here, so that's why we're only running 1 Shaman as well. We use Ultra Ball, get Shaman out, and then if we get Silent Lab, place it down immediately, so your opponent, basic Pokemon, do lose their abilities. So let's think about Volcanion, even though Greninja Volcanion is not that hard. Greninja just wipes the floor with Volcanion, but this is also great in other shenanigans decks. Just get that. Also, if your opponent wants to set up with his or her Shaman, she cannot do that, or he or she cannot do that with Silent Lab out. That way you have a better time setting up your Greninjas. Really fast deck. Burst and Balloon is also quite annoying. If they attack you, they receive 6 damage counter. So in combination with the Giant Water Shurikens, that can cause a ton of damage. And this deck is doing really well as well. Okay, moving on, we have Mega Gardevoir. This deck was really great when it first came out, but thanks to the Sun and Moon update, it got dropped to tier 2 because, yeah, Tauros is around, you cannot one-shot that, and you definitely want to have damage on your field. You can also play this with Skyfield, with more Pokemon in there to deal more damage, but the good thing is that we have Professor Kukui, which got released with Sun and Moon. With that, you can add the damage up, and if you cannot get that one-hit knockout that you secretly want, you can use Kukui. Also, this deck is a consistent list with running Hex Maniac, and then 4 Fairy Drops, 4 Ultra Balls, 4 Trainer's Mail, so you want to have your setup as fast as possible, draw into that Ultra Ball, get your Hoopa, get your Gardevoirs out, and start attacking with Desperate as soon as possible. So it's a really consistent build, and you should definitely check it out. The good thing about Gardevoir is that it is part Psychic type, so it can destroy Mewtwo's in their tracks. So be careful. If you're playing Mega Mewtwo, Gardevoir might one-shot you. Okay. Honorable mentions about I'm placing it between tier 1 and tier 2, so I'm not giving it a mention there. The honorable mentions are Mega Rayquaza. Don't have a deck about that. I used to have one, but I traded the Mega Rayquazas away to build new decks. Mega Rayquaza is still doing well. The Rayquaza is just so great. It can evolve and attack and stuff. Let's just open a random deck and just show you this card that I want to mention. Mega Rayquaza. So show not. Oh, we have her regular Rayquaza, but that's not the one I want to show. It's all about the one from Roaring Skies with the Delta Evolution. So you may put this card from your hand on your Pokemon on your first turn, so you can get Mega Rayquaza out as fast as possible. You can use Max Elixirs on the regular Rayquaza, and with the DCE you can have the stuff going. You can play it with Magearna or any other Pokemon basic energies for that matter, because it only needs a DCE and a regular basic energy. So Emerald Break deals 30 damage times the number of your bench Pokemon, so that way you deal a ton of damage. And yeah, it also only has 1 retreat cost, which is awesome. Fighting resistance also great, so yeah, that's why I want to mention it. Zygarde is also a really great deck, so we're just gonna continue on. Zygarde. Yeah, wow, I cannot type it anymore. Zygarde here. It deals 20 damage plus 20 more if there's a Stadium card in play, which most of the time there is. Also, it can heal with Cellstorm, and yeah, this is just quite consistent with strong energy. You deal just a ton of damage for a single energy. Regirock can help you out. There's also the Carbinks, which are quite annoying, which can make you stall. It's a great deck, definitely check it out. Okay, next up, another deck in the honorable mentions, we have the Gardevoir. I'm not talking about the Desperate one, we're talking about the other Gardevoir. Wow, we're putting Gardevoir in this deck, not the thing we want to do. It's all about the Brilliant Arrow. The Brilliant Arrow deals 30 damage times the Fairy energies to attach to all of your Pokemon. Why is the deck worth mentioning? Because with the Xerneas, with Geomancy, this one gets the Fairy energies out of your deck. Use that a couple of times at the beginning of the game, and then you're set to deal a ton of damage with Brilliant Arrow. Also, thinking about it, there was in the top 32 of Anaheim tournament, there was also one of these decks that did really well, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Also, talking about the Rainbow Force, the Rainbow Road deck, which I mentioned earlier in the video. This is the card you want to use. Okay, with that aside, we have all the honorable mentions out of the way. Also, there's another one I want to talk about. Solgaleo Lurantis. I think a deck that did really well, so that's why I'm mentioning this one as well. Solgaleo will be released as a 10 promo, so expect that. Has a great ability. It's a build-in switch. Stun Steel Strike deals a ton of damage, and expanded with Klinklang. It's really great. Soul Burst GX is the attack you want to use, getting energy cards onto your field, and with the Lurantis you just attack. So that's why I'm mentioning that deck as well. So for now, the top tier decks, top tier 1 I want to talk about. Let's just give a moment of silence, because it's not an EX or GX, so what card can it be? So we're gonna discard the changes here. We are gonna check out Vespiquen. Why is Vespiquen so good? It's just, I believe it's an uncommon, so yeah, this is an uncommon. definitely, it's not a rare, so you can get your hands on it quite easily. Just buy yourself some Ancient Origin packs. We run 4 Unknown for the draw support. Yeah, if you don't know what it is, Farewell Letter lets you discard Unknown, and then you draw a card. This is all about Be Revenge, dealing 20 damage plus 10 more for each Pokemon in your discard pile. Think about the Unknowns you discard, the Clef Keys you attach to Vespiquen, which makes you invulnerable to the Mega Pokemon's attacks, so that's why it's so good. It can block itself from Megas, deal a ton of damage, has free retreat, so if you want you can just attack with something else like a Tauros. There's also some cards like this. It's a new card, Oranguru, which makes you draw cards until you have 3 in your hand. Really great because you use Acrobike and Ultra Ball and all kind of stuff in the progress of the game, so that's why you want to have your other draw support. We have Zoroark stand-in. You can just switch it to your active position out of nowhere, Mind Jack to deal tons of damage. So this deck is quite versatile. You can also play Raichu or Zebstrika depending on your playstyle. Mewtwo EX can use the attack of everyone, so that's why it's also in this deck. You can use Be Revenge with Mew as well. Mew is a psychic type, means you can just destroy Mega Mewtwo decks. It only runs 4 DCEs though, so let's just open this up. This is quite difficult to read, so we're gonna go with this method. We run Acrobikes, 2, actually there's 1 special charge, maybe adding it up to 2 is better. Revitalizer, 4 Ultra Ball, the Force of Giant Plants, only running 2 because you don't always have to evolve to your Vespiquen just as fast. You can also wait and evolve a combi later on because your Vespiquen will definitely do a ton of damage, so it's worth evolving. Professor Kukui, only 1, and that's basically it for the deck. Dealing a ton of damage only for a DCE, so that's why it's so good. Did really well at a bunch of tournaments already, so that's why I'm suggesting you should definitely check it out. Also, moving on, we're gonna check out my deck. This is the deck I played at a recent League Challenge, which I became first place. This is all about our main guy, Yveltal EX. It's still such a great card. It's also a promo that got released together with the Zygarde in a tin, so it will be staying around for at least a year and a half, so that's why it's so good. You can just make this deck quite easily. These are just promo cards. You can get your hands on them for about $6. Also, the Fright Knight is quite devastating against Mega decks that need to evolve with a Spirit Link. If it's active, all the tool cards in play have no effect. This is great. Also, if a Pokemon has a ton of damage, just say a Darkrai EX, and it only has 40 HP left, just switch this to the active position and it dies automatically because the tool cards don't have effect anymore, unless they have Gardevoir out there. So Fright Knight, really great. It snipes Pokemon, it snipes mainly the Shaman. You might think, oh, it's not that good anymore. Pokemon people play GX as well. You're wrong. They still play Shaman, and we use Pitch Black Spear twice, and we get 2 prizes. So really great to start with as well. Also, Tauros is in this deck, running 2 copies. This is the best friend of Yveltal. It also deals Mad Bull GX for a bazillion damage. Just have yourself a Ninja Boy. Just attack with the Yveltal EX with a ton of energies. Just attack it. If you're almost knocked out, just Ninja Boy into Tauros and get yourself some more prizes. Delinquent, great disruptive card in this deck. Also running 4 DCE, 9 Darkness Energies, 3 Floatstone, and 3 Fighting Fury Belts, 2 Professor Kukui, 4 Sycamore. This is just my deck that I'm playing. Only 3 VS Seekers. I know you maybe play 4, but if you're playing against an item lock deck, you don't want 4 VS Seekers. They're quite useless right there. Okay. That is my deck running with the Gardevoir, just shutting down all the abilities. This is also great if you shut down your own Fright Knight ability. You can have a Fighting Fury Belt onto your Yveltal, having it 170 HP, which is awesome. Okay, we're heading to the last decks I want to mention. We have, ladies and gentlemen, we have on the second place, I want to say, Mega Mewtwo EX. This deck is just so good. It's Psychic Infinity is just like Evil Ball, but then more disruptive. It deals more damage. That's just crazy. Mega Mewtwo, 210 HP, it's a lot. We run a 2-1 line of the Gardevoir because we also run something else. Espeon, really great GX move in this deck. You can also run the Tauros, but we're not running Ninja Boy, so maybe Espeon is a great GX move to use. Just use a ton of damage, then they retreat a couple of times, and then Divide GX will get yourself some prizes, definitely. So it also confuses your opponent. If you're confused, they're stuck. They have to retreat, otherwise they slap themselves in the face with 30 damage. That's also great. Also, Psychic does something similar to the Psychic Infinity, so it's a really great Pokemon to put into your deck. You just evolve to your Espeon with a Psychic Energy thanks to the Eevee's ability, so it's just so good. What can you expect in a deck like this? Mega Turbo, the Shrine of Memories, definitely, because we want to have the damage swap ability. Actually, it's an attack damage change. You can swap around the damage counters on yourself to your opponent's active Pokemon. Really devastating in certain situations, so that's why it's so good. Yeah, what more can we say? It's Mewtwo. It has been a popular and legendary and powerful Pokemon, and it still is in the trading card game. If you love Mewtwo, play this deck, you'll love it. Okay, and now rounding off with the last deck on my list, it is Darkrai Turbo, or actually Turbo Darkrai. This is the list with the focus on the baby Yveltal. You can also play Giratina or Salamence in this situation. Giratina, if you want to play with this Pokemon, add in some double Dragon Energies, 2 or 3 as a fission. The Renegade Pulse makes it so it cannot be hit by Mega Evolutions, which is great. Mega Mewtwo won't do a thing, Mega Gardevoir won't do a thing, and much more. So Giratina, an ideal blocker. Also Chaos Wheel makes it so your opponent cannot attach a special energy card, they cannot attach a tool card, and they cannot play a stadium card. So they're kind of locked, but not an item lock. It's a more variety lock like that with the tool cards, the special energies, and stadium cards. So imagine yourself, you use that attack against a Vespiquen deck. They cannot use a special energy, they don't have energies in play. This is really devastating, just think about it. And this deck we also run the Enhanced Hammer, so Enhanced Hammer away the DCE, use the attack of Giratina, and wow, you're set for the rest of the game. And unless they use their Enhanced Hammer of their own. Okay, this deck runs around, yeah, Darkrai, Dark Pulse. I already made a video, last video actually, about this deck facing the Yveltal Tauros deck, so definitely check it out. It was a really close game, and you'll learn a lot. Their Dark Pulse deals 20 damage, plus 20 more for each Darkness Energy attached to all of your Pokemon, which means we're using a ton of Max Elixir, using the Oblivion Wing at the early stages of the game, and then we hit for a crazy amount of damage with Darkrai. That's how the deck functions. Also, yeah, we run Ninja Boy. If you think about it, we sometimes need to use the Y-Cyclone or Evil Ball in a situation where we want to knock out and Darkrai's attack is not enough. We can also swap into Tauros if we have damage on ourselves, so that way we deal a crazy amount of damage as mentioned. So this deck is also really great. Silent Labs makes it so your opponent's basic abilities do not work. Shaman is locked out. Other Pokemon like Volcanion are locked out, which is awesome. This deck is quite consistent as well, running 3 Trainers Mail and 4 Ultra Ball. So yeah, the thing about this deck that I haven't mentioned is the XP share. That way we reserve our energies and Darkrai has its full power time after time. So this is actually the most played deck, Darkrai, at the recent regionals, so that's why it's on the tier 1 list on the number 1 spot. These decks are all good. Don't think that I put the deck that I mentioned in the early stages of the video. Those decks are also good. If you happen to make it work, definitely let me know. All the decks that I mentioned work, so check them out. Some are better than others, but I think that the last 3 I mentioned are definitely doing a ton of damage and doing really well in almost every matchup. So that's why I'm mentioning those. Anyway, that was the video. Wow, guys, a half an hour video. It's been a while since I made one of these, but hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, definitely show your support, rock smashing the hell out of the like button, and let me guys know what you guys are playing at the standard format right now. I really want to know, and I want to see the variety of decks that are being played around the world, so that's why I'm mentioning it. Also, be sure you are subscribed. A ton more videos are coming. There's also a new set around the horizon. Beginning of May will be opened on the channel as well. Guardians Rising with a ton of Tapus in there, Tapu Bulu, Tapu Lele, Tapu Koko, all everything going like that. This is awesome to know the TCG is still alive, has a ton of decks. If you don't know what to play, check this video, just scroll through them and you'll have an awesome time. Anyway, this was it for another video. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode and have an awesome day, guys. Enjoy making decks, and I will see you guys later with more epic videos about the trading card game. Peace out. Alright guys, now to Poké-News. In this Poké-News segment I have two scans I want to talk about. It's about a new card that saw revealing in the Pokebeach website. So the thing is here, guys, a moment of silence. Fliptini is back! Yeah, that's right, the Victini, all the way from Noble Victories with the ability Victory Star, has been reprinted. So once during your turn, if you after you flip a bunch of coins for an attack, you may ignore the outcome of those flips and start flipping those coins again. Yeah, with some added boost of the Victini, we have extra luck on our side, and luck-based decks will definitely make use of this Victini. Think about Pinsir that throws a Pokemon away from from in play. Definitely check out the Victini, and certain decks will actually use this card. So it's kind of neat to see it back again. Reminds me back of the good old days. Next scan we have Kommo-o-GX. Some people say it's the best GX because it deals the best of damage, but then again, you are wrong. It's a stage 2 Pokemon. It has some setting up to do before you can use it. It deals 30 damage during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. It's a dragon type, which means double dragon can be applied. It needs a lightning, a fighting, and then a double colorless energy to deal 130 damage, and it isn't affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so that could be decent. But for 4 energies, 130, just think about other cards like the Mega Gardevoir. It's a evolution, Mega Evolution for that. It deals 110 damage for 2 energies. So this I don't see working. Also the GX move deals 240 damage. You might say it's overpowered, but that can actually one-shot about anything in the format. You can use a Double Dragon and a DCE and maybe Rare Candy, and then just get it out on your second turn and do a lot of damage right there. I don't think it will have that great of an impact in the meta game, but it's neat to see a Dragon GX nevertheless. Anyway, that was it. I already said my goodbyes, but I'm out now. Peace out.